You're exhausted. You pray, you try, you struggle, and yet it seems like life only gets worse. You feel weak, empty, abandoned, as if God had turned his back on you right at the moment you need him most. If you are feeling this right now, pay close attention, because what I am about to reveal in the next few minutes will change the way you view your weakness forever. There is a spiritual truth that very few Christians in Brazil comprehend, a truth so powerful that, when you understand it, you will stop seeing your weakness as a punishment. You will stop thinking that God has abandoned you, and you will begin to see your weakness as the most fertile ground where God performs the greatest miracles of your life. I am not going to stall. I will not give you shallow advice. I will not repeat phrases you have already heard 1,000 times at church. I will show you exactly why you are feeling this weakness now, what it means in the spiritual plane, and how God is acting in the silence, precisely while you think he has gone quiet. Because God is saying, at this very instant, with all the clarity of heaven, when you feel weak, that is exactly when I strengthen you the most. And perhaps right now you are asking yourself, but if this is true, why do I feel so alone? Calm down. I will answer. But first I need you to understand the signs. Because your body, your soul, and your spirit are screaming something, and you need to decipher it before it is too late. Think with me. You wake up in the morning and already feel tired, as if even sleeping does not help anymore. You look in the mirror and barely recognize the person standing there. You open your messages, see the notifications, and simply have no strength to respond. You turn on your phone, look at the bills to pay, remember the rent, the market prices that are absurd, the child who needs new sneakers, the medicine for your father, and your chest tightens. It tightens in a way that is not just anxiety. It is something deeper. You sit on the sofa, turn on the television, but cannot pay attention to anything. You try to pray, and the words do not come out. You open the Bible and read 3 verses without understanding anything. You want to cry, but the tears get stuck in your throat, stuck in. And here I must tell you something that is no coincidence. You did not stumble upon this video by chance. This exhaustion that is consuming you, this feeling that no one understands, this night that seems like it will never end, all of this has a spiritual meaning that many people live through and almost no one deciphers. You feel deep in your heart that you need to protect your family, that you have a spiritual responsibility over those you love, but you feel without the strength to carry it alone. That is why I have prepared a powerful digital book for you, How to Know If God Will Save You in the Final Judgment. The link is pinned in the description below and at the top of the comments. Hundreds of Brazilian brothers and sisters, tired mothers, overwhelmed fathers, widows who buried everything they had, and even young people who were on the verge of giving up, read this book and returned to feeling the presence of God in a way they had not felt in years. This content may be taken down at any moment, so do not leave it for later. If you feel that God is speaking to you right now, write just one word in the comments. Amen. Now, the part that no one tells you. Why does God allow you to feel so weak? Why of all people do you, who try to do what is right, who strive to be a good father, a good mother, a good son, a good Christian, find yourself living the worst moment of your life? The answer lies in a spiritual principle that traverses the entire Bible, and which the Apostle Paul described with a clarity that gives you chills. Paul, who faced shipwrecks, imprisonments, beatings, and hunger, wrote a phrase that seems contradictory, but which is the deepest secret of the Christian life. When I am weak, then I am strong. You have read this. I know you have. But I doubt that you have truly understood it, because the world taught you the opposite. The world taught you that being strong is never falling, that being a winner is to never cry, that being a man means not showing pain, that being a woman means handling everything alone, that being a Christian means always smiling, always singing, always happy. A lie. All of this is a lie, and this lie is destroying the faith of millions who feel guilty for not being able to pretend that everything is fine. The spiritual truth is different. The truth is that God does not use those who are full of themselves. God uses those who are empty. God does not choose those who rely on their own strength. God chooses those who recognize that without Him, they are going nowhere. And that is why before God performs a great miracle in your life, He allows you to pass through a valley where your strength runs out, where your plans crumble, where your wisdom is not enough. Because it is only there in that place of brokenness that you finally make room for God to act. Remember Gideon, that common man, hiding wheat in a winepress for fear of the Midianites, a rural worker from the smallest clan of Manasseh, the youngest in his family, who considered himself the weakest of all. And it was exactly this man whom God called a mighty warrior. Why? Because God saw in him what he could not see in himself. And furthermore, when Gideon gathered 32,000 men to fight, God said it was too many people. He reduced it to 10,000, still too many. He reduced it to 300. 300 men against an immense army. Why? So that no one could say the victory was by human strength. The victory would have to be obligatorily God's. And that is exactly what is happening to you right now. God is reducing you, not to destroy you, but so that, when the miracle happens, no one, not even you, can say it was your own merit. So that all glory is given to the one who truly performed it. You are not being abandoned, you are being prepared. And as I explain this to you, I feel that this message has reached you at a very specific moment, at a point where you may be one step away from giving up, holding the weight of an entire family alone. That is why I have prepared a powerful digital book for you, How to Know If God Will Save You on Judgment Day. The link is in the description and at the top of the comments. Do not leave it for later. There are spiritual decisions that, when delayed, cost too much. But there is a detail that changes everything. And this is where many people go wrong, because feeling weak is not enough. You need to do something specific with this weakness. And if you do not, it turns into bitterness. It turns into depression. It turns into anger at God. It turns into an abandonment of faith. I have seen 50-year-old men, fathers, leave the church because they misunderstood the valley they were walking through. I have seen 40-year-old women, the pillars of their families, stop praying because they thought God was no longer listening. Do not make this mistake. Pay attention to what comes next. What you need to do with your weakness is the opposite of what your instinct tells you to do. Your instinct tells you to hide, to pretend, to smile at others, to post smiling photos on Instagram, to say that everything is fine when someone asks at church. Your instinct tells you to isolate yourself because you think no one will understand. Your instinct tells you to compare yourself to that cousin who is doing well, to that friend who posted a trip, to that neighbor who bought a new car. And the more you compare yourself, the weaker you feel. But God says stop. Stop hiding, stop pretending, stop comparing. Your weakness is not a shame. Your weakness is the most sacred invitation you will receive in your entire life. Because it is only when you recognize and surrender your weakness that the power of God has space to manifest. Think of David, a boy, the youngest of 8 brothers, who tended sheep in the field. When Samuel went to Jesse's house to anoint the next king of Israel, they did not even call David. He was considered so insignificant that they forgot about him. It took Samuel asking, "Are these all your sons?" and the father answering almost with, "Shame. The youngest is still missing, but he is tending the sheep." David had no resume. He had no stature. He had no military experience. He had no respect from his family. And yet, he was the one God chose to be king. And when David went to face Goliath, no one bet on him. His brothers laughed. Saul said he was a child. Goliath mocked him. David was the personification of weakness before that giant. But David knew something that no one there knew. His strength was not in the sword. It was not in the armor. It was not in the muscles. His strength was in the God he served. And he won. Not because he was strong, but because he had the clarity that without God he would win nothing. You have your Goliath right now. It may be a debt that seems impossible to pay. It may be an illness that the doctors cannot explain. It may be a rebellious child who has been keeping you awake for years. It may be a marriage that is slowly dying. It may be an addiction that no one knows about, but which is consuming you from within. It may be a depression that makes you feel gray on the inside even on sunny days. This is your Goliath, and he seems too big. But I need to remind you of one thing. God does not call you to fight with your weapons. God calls you to fight with his weapons. And that is why he empties you first. He takes your sword. He takes your armor. He takes your plan A, your plan B, your plan C, so that when the miracle comes, you know without any doubt that it was him. Do you remember Elijah, one of the most powerful prophets in history, that man who faced 450 prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel, who made fire descend from the sky, who killed the false prophets, who prayed and the rain returned after 3.5 years of drought? This same Elijah, days later, was fleeing under a juniper tree, wanting to die, asking God to take his life. "It is enough, Lord, take my life, for I am no better than my fathers." How can that be? The prophet of fire wanting to die? Because spiritual life is not a straight line. There are mountains and there are valleys. There are days of Mount Carmel, and there are days under the juniper tree. And on the days under the juniper tree, God does not rebuke you. Do you know what God did with Elijah? He sent an angel to bring bread and water. He let him sleep. He took care of his body first. Only then did he talk. And when he talked, he did not speak with a voice of thunder. He spoke with a soft, gentle, low voice. Because sometimes weakness needs rest, food, sleep, and then a gentle word. God understands this better than anyone. If you are under your juniper tree today, hear what I'm going to say. It is not the end. It is an intermission. It is not abandonment. It is disguised care. It is not punishment. It is silent restoration. God is taking care of you in a way you do not yet perceive. And when you rise from there, you will have strength not for 40 more days, but for an entire journey. And this is where I want you to imagine yourself in a scene. Imagine yourself a year from now. Imagine yourself waking up in the morning and feeling peace for the first time in a long time. Imagine your family gathered, laughing, eating together. Imagine the bill being paid. Imagine the test results coming back clean. Imagine your child coming back home. Imagine your marriage being restored. Imagine yourself opening the Bible and finally understanding what you are reading, with tears of gratitude streaming down. This scenario is not a fantasy. It is a promise. And it begins exactly in the place where you are right now. And as you imagine this scene, something inside you is stirring. Perhaps a lump in your throat, perhaps a tear wanting to fall, perhaps a strange sensation in your chest, as if God had placed his hand on your shoulder at this very instant. This is not cheap emotion. This is the Holy Spirit witnessing with you. And it was thinking of this exact moment, of this mission that weighs upon you to be a pillar for your loved ones, that I prepared the powerful digital book for you, How to Know If God Will Save You on Judgment Day. The link is pinned in the description and at the top of the comments. Parents who wept while reading, wives who felt hope once again, men who thought of giving up and found direction, they all had one thing in common. They were weak when they opened this content, and they left it strengthened. Do not delay. Comment right below. I accept the call if you felt something just now. Now, for the practical part. How exactly do you receive this strength from God when you feel weak? I will give you 3 spiritual keys that have changed the lives of real people. You can apply them this very day. You do not need to wait for Sunday. You do not need to wait for a pastor. You do not need to wait for anything. You can start now. The first key, confessing weakness out loud. I know this sounds trivial, but it has power. When you say, out loud, alone, inside your house, in the bathroom, in the car, Lord, I cannot handle this. I am weak. I need you. Something changes in the spiritual plane, because you remove from pride the mask that was killing you from within. You dismantle the false fortress you built to appear strong to others, and you surrender control to the one who truly knows what he is doing. The second key, receiving without begging. There is a huge difference between asking as a child and begging as an orphan. Many people pray like beggars. They implore. They negotiate. Lord, if I do such a thing, will you do such another? This is not faith. This is desperation. The prayer of faith is different. The prayer of faith acknowledges weakness, but trusts in the Father. Father, I do not know how, I do not know when, but I know that you know. I rest in you. When you pray like this, your nervous system changes, your heart calms down, and you begin to notice answers you did not perceive before. The third key, and this is the most important, acting even without feeling. Here is where many people get stuck, because we wait to feel strength before acting. We wait to feel the desire before going to church. We wait to feel joy before praying. We wait to feel certainty before making a decision. But God works in reverse. You act and the strength comes along the way. You get out of bed and the willingness appears afterward. You open the Bible and the understanding arrives while you read. You take the first step and the light only turns on at the second. Faith is not a feeling. Faith is a decision. And whoever waits for a feeling in order to obey never obeys. Think of a very common scene. You leave work exhausted from that long day, take the crowded bus, arrive home at 9 at night, still have to heat up your dinner, wash the dishes, help your child with their homework, and tomorrow at 5 in the morning you are on your feet again. You sit on the edge of the bed, look at the ceiling and think, I cannot take it anymore. That moment, that exact thought, is the moment when God most wants to speak with you. But you need to stop, even if it is for 2 minutes. Sit, breathe, and say, Lord, in your name I will rest now. Tomorrow I will wake up in your strength, not mine. You will sleep differently, and you will wake up differently. See? It is not a magic formula. It is a daily decision. It is a silent pact between you and the Father. A pact that says, I am weak, but you are strong. I am limited, but you are infinite. I will stumble, but you will hold me. And that is why so many people who seem to have everything are so unhappy, because they trust in their own strength. They have money, but they do not have peace. They have a big house, but they do not have the presence of God. They have a new car, but their marriage is dying. And there are people who apparently have nothing, live in a simple place, earn little, but have a peace on their faces that no money can buy. Why? Because they know the secret. They know where true strength dwells. Have you ever stopped to observe this? That simple lady at church who crochets, who raised 6 children alone, who buried a husband, who lost a job, and even so arrives on Sunday singing, hugging, smiling. How does she do it? Why does she have a peace that a multinational executive does not have? Because she learned through the harshness of time that her weakness is the passport to the strength of God. She does not try. More trying to solve everything on her own. She has already moved past that stage. She surrenders. And when you truly surrender, the supernatural happens. But I know what is going through your mind right now. You are thinking, that is fine, but my problem is very specific. You are thinking that no one understands your burden, that your story is different, that your suffering is deeper. I understand you, but pay attention. The Bible does not speak of generic suffering. It speaks of concrete, real, bloody situations. A barren woman weeping, a father watching his son die, a man betrayed by his own family, a prophet ridiculed by the people, a king losing his throne, an apostle beaten until he fainted. No one in the Bible had an easy life. And it was exactly in these situations that God revealed himself in the most powerful way. Think of Hannah, the mother of Samuel. Years of marriage without being able to conceive, suffering the taunts of the other wife, Peninnah, who had children, weeping in the temple, without eating, with a shattered heart. The priest Eli looked at her and thought she was drunk because of how much she was contorting in silent prayer. She was weakness personified. But from there was born Samuel, the prophet who would anoint the first kings of Israel. Hannah was not being punished. She was being spiritually gestated to be the mother of a man who would change history. And if today you are Hannah, without spiritual children, without visible fruit, without recognition, I tell you, there is a Samuel prepared to be born from your story. It may be a ministry, it may be a book, it may be a word you will say to someone. It may be the very testimony of your restoration. But there is something being born from within you. Do not give up now. Another thing that needs to be clear. The strength that God gives is not always a strength that removes the pain. Sometimes it is a strength that makes you pass through the pain without breaking. There are people who pray, Lord, remove this problem. And God responds, no, I will give you the strength to go through it. You wanted the exit. He gave you the crossing. You wanted the shortcut. He gave you the path. And on the path, he formed you, polished you, strengthened you, deepened you. Paul prayed 3 times for God to remove that thorn in his flesh. God said, "My grace is sufficient for you." It was not the answer Paul wanted, but it was the right answer, because it was in that pain that Paul developed the greatest humility, the greatest dependence, the greatest intimacy with God that any apostle ever had. His thorn became a platform for ministry. His weakness became spiritual authority. Your pain may be doing the same thing to you. That thing you beg God to remove may be, at this very moment, the instrument that is sculpting in you a character you would not have otherwise. I do not ask you to like the pain. I ask you to trust the sculptor. And here is a hard truth. There are Christians who prefer to remain strong and shallow rather than allow themselves to be weak and deep. They prefer to look well rather than to be well. They prefer appearance over process. And because of this, they live 50 years in the church without ever having been truly transformed. They know verses, they sing praises, they are part of ministries, but they have never broken. They have never wept in His presence. They have never said, "With everything, Lord, without you I am nothing." And because they never broke, they were never rebuilt. They remain the same, stagnant. Do not be that person. Allow yourself to be weak before God, not before men who will judge you. Before Him who will restore you, lock the door of your room, turn off the light, take off the mask, and speak to the Father as a child speaks to a father, without theater, without religiosity, without pompous words, just you and Him. It is in this encounter that strength is born, and perhaps you are hearing this and thinking, "But I am in such a specific situation. I lost my job after 50. Who will hire me?" Or, "My husband betrayed me after 25 years of marriage. How do I move on?" Or, "My son is involved with drugs and I no longer know what to do." Or, "I have an illness that the doctor said that no." There is healing. Or perhaps you say, "I am a widow raising my grandchild because their mother abandoned me." Or, "I am a man, 50 years old, and I have never cried as much in my life as I have this past year." Each of these stories is real. Each of these people exists. Perhaps it is yours. And I tell you, with the certainty of one who knows the Word, God specializes in exactly these cases. The more impossible it seems, the more glorious the result. The deeper the valley, the higher the mountain that follows. The darker the night, the brighter the dawn. Think of Lazarus, 4 days dead. He was already decaying. His sister Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, there is already a stench." Everything was lost. Humanly speaking, there was no solution. And it was exactly there, after all human hope had vanished, that Jesus said, "Lazarus, come out." And the dead man walked out of the tomb. Why? So that no one could claim it was chance, that it was a coincidence, that it was a natural recovery. It was a pure miracle. It was God showing that the impossible to men is the starting point of His extraordinary works. If your situation carries a scent of decay, pay attention. It may be that you are at the exact moment to hear the voice that says, "Come out." Do not give up before hearing that voice. Do not bury hope before the 4th day. And as you hear this, I want you to reflect on one thing. Who in your life needs to hear this message right now? That friend who has drifted from the church. That sister who is struggling with depression. That cousin who is drinking too much. That co-worker who has lost their spouse. Share this video. Send it to your family group. Send it to that person's inbox, because the Word of God must spread, and you can be the channel. Tag the name of someone in the comments for whom you are praying right now. I will read it. I will intercede. And the heavens will move. We live in a generation that has more information than ever, but less peace than ever. There is more connection, yet more loneliness. There is more comfort, yet more anxiety. And do you know why? Because we have trusted too much in things that do not sustain us. We trusted in jobs, in marriages, in money, in health, in youth. All of this is fragile. All of this passes. All of this can collapse overnight. The only thing that does not collapse is the rock, and the rock is He. David wrote, "The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer." Why? Because he lived through situations where everything else went down the drain. Saul seeking to kill him, his son rebelling, counselors betraying him, enemy armies surrounding him, his sick child dying. And even so, he held firm to that rock, and that rock did not fail. That rock is available to you now, today. In this very moment, you need no permit, you need no human mediation, you have direct access. Jesus tore the veil of the temple so that you could enter the Holy of Holies without needing a priest, without needing a sacrifice, without needing anything other than his name. Use this access. I want to end this video with a promise that is not mine, but his. In Isaiah chapter 40, verse 29, it is written, "He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak." Read it again. He increases the power of the one who has no vigor. It does not say he gives strength to those who already have a little. It says he multiplies the strength of those who are at zero, of those who have nothing left, of those who have reached the bottom. If you are at zero today, pay very close attention. You are in the exact place where the miracle happens. You are at the point where the mathematics of God begins to operate. 0 times infinity still equals infinity when God is the multiplier. And verse 31 continues, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." You will not just recover your strength. You will fly. You will run without weariness. You will walk without fatigue. But there is one condition. Wait on the Lord, not waiting for an answer. Waiting on him, trusting in him, resting in him. Today, in this moment, I invite you to make a silent pact. Close your eyes for 2 seconds, place your hand on your chest, and say in silence, just to him, "Lord, I am weak. I confess. I need your strength. Today I cease trying to be strong on my own. Today I give you control. Today I trust done." Did you do it? Then something has changed in the spiritual realm at this very instant. You have just opened a door that had been locked for a long time. And so that you do not leave this video and return to the rush of life without holding on to this transformation, I need to remind you of one thing. This message did not reach you by chance. You were led here for a spiritual purpose greater than you can see right now. And the mission that God is placing in your heart to be a beacon for your family, to be a pillar for those you love, requires that you prepare yourself. That is why I have prepared a powerful digital book for you, How to Know If God Will Save You at the Final Judgment. The link is pinned in the description below and at the top of the comments. It is not just reading, it is an awakening. Brazilians of all ages are writing and saying they have felt God again after years of inner silence. This content may be taken down at any moment. Do not delay what God is asking of you now. Comment below, "Lord, I receive you in my weakness." Tag someone who needs to hear this. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and like this video so that more Brazilians may receive this word. May God bless you, strengthen you, and use you powerfully. Amen.